If my father was dying of a heart attack and he's on the way to the hospital and there's all this bullshit happening behind scenes to try to save his life, I don't know that anybody could stand in court and be able to defend the situation like this. Hey doc, all good. I'm gonna cruise in the Bahamas. There's 5 units at Methodist, don't worry. I get to the CVOR and I'm starting the case. And they're like, we don't have any. So scrub out, call the dude in the Bahamas. And the dude is like, oh yeah, they're in the 6th floor in IR.
Now, as we fast forward to present day, that resource and representative goes beyond not just delivering the products and finding what you're looking for, but it's also attached to supply chain, clinical education, scheduling, inventory compliance.
I have been on the way to remove clot out of somebody's lung, for example. One of the main things in my mind is, am I going to have the devices that I need? As I'm fumbling out of the house, I'm going through my phone trying to remember what the fuck the name of the rep was.
In essence, you grab your phone now and you open up our application Unite, and regardless of the medical device and regardless of the medical device manufacturer, you automatically can see your local representation and the person that represents those.
Can they rate the physicians? Like, this guy is an asshole. This guy asked me to get him coffee every single day. 1 star.
2 vascular surgeons walk into a bar and come out with a podcast. We are talking everything vascular and not. Welcome to the Life of Flow podcast.
The following podcast is not relating to my teachings and work at Del Cedar Medical Center and is for entertainment purposes only.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Life of Flow podcast. And today we were so lucky to get Eric Plumb. Eric is the CEO of PROXDIS. Eric has been working for a long time in the medical device world and saw a gap in the market, saw an opportunity and decided to go for it, created his own platform with another group of amazing individuals to come up with a novel solution. So today we explore that, we explore his process, we explore the challenges that he came up against and what he's doing to fix this issue that he thought was important. This is one of the topics that we love to talk about here, going from vision to reality. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and vamos.
Eric, what a pleasure to have you here. It's taken us a little bit to schedule you, but here we are on a beautiful, cloudy Houston morning.
Oh my God.
On the most beautiful city of Texas.
The beautiful cement. I love it.
With our beautiful background, this plant that
This is like the only nature that exists in Houston.
Where are you at, Eric?
I'm down in South Florida, and by the way, thank you both for the invitation to be on the show. I was really looking forward to it, and yeah, I definitely like the foliage. Very, very nice plant here.
Well, listen, man, we love having conversations with very diverse faculty, very diverse guests, but we do have a lot of entrepreneurship. And I think that you embody that. And through some of our own personal collections of people that we hold very close and dear, we've been lucky enough to meet, to converse, and to learn from each other a little bit. And that's why we wanted you on this show. I think you are an absolute star, and there's going to be a lot of interesting things in the future coming up. The main reason today, and we'll talk a little bit about your background, but the main reason today is we'll talk about a company called PROXDIS. PROXDIS is a software solution, making it probably easier to reach your industry representatives, and I think that's just a very, very succinct way of summarizing it. But I'd rather let you tell the audience your elevator pitch, if you may, of what this company that you've been leading is.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you for that, and I appreciate the kind words. So PROXDIS is we're a healthcare technology company, and our goal and vision mission is to modernize the method of interaction between a very critical relationship in healthcare, which we feel has been very overlooked for the last 30 or 40 years. And that is between the medical device industry and the hospitals, specifically the hospital procedural teams that are routinely on a day-to-day basis interacting with those individuals. And as you both can contest to, it's a critical relationship, in fact, that given the fact that these individuals bring resources and life-saving technology and devices, and we're still very antiquated with the way that we interact with each other. And during my time interacting with over 180 hospitals and walking the floor and seeing the real life interactions between the two, I was shocked by the fact that healthcare, with all the technology and all the advancements that we have had, this is one particular area that's still continuing to suffer, and ultimately it touches the patients too. And we wanted to do something better, and that's how our company started. We wanted to, at its core, modernize that communication and relationship, and we've done that through our mobile application called Unite.
Let me just back up here and to contextualize it, I guess, in my own words, and you tell me if I'm wrong. We have a lot of vascular physicians, vascular interventionalists, surgeons, etc. I have been on the way to remove clot out of somebody's lung, for example. It may be the wee hours of the morning, and as I'm managing to get my own shit together to go to the hospital and coordinating the OR and getting calls from people and juggling all that, at the same time, one of the main things in my mind is, am I going to have the devices that I need?
Yeah.
You know, did the consignment guy reorder? Is there the sheath I need? And do I have the wire I need? And so then, you know, at some point as I'm fumbling out of the house, I'm going through my phone trying to remember what the fuck the name of the rep was. And then I realize that the guy I
Chad.
texted
The
to,
name is Chad.
that the guy I texted, I'm like, no, wait, he went to that other company.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, well, who the hell was like the territory manager? And in the middle of all this, you know, I may be unlucky to get to the hospital and have no feedback whatsoever. So now I'm there with the B team in the middle of the night, trying to go into the vascular closet and figuring out if we have this stuff. And tell me, Lucas, if that story doesn't resonate with so many moments of your
Oh
life.
my God. I laugh because I would be crying. I would be like curled up in a ball crying for every single time someone tells me, what cabinet is that?
I'm telling you, like, it's
Like,
just
what do you mean
ridiculous.
cabinet?
Things like, oh, no, you have, doctor, don't worry. I'm in a cruise ship in the Bahamas. Because I'm literally just like sharing stories.
Yeah.
Hey, doc, all good. I'm in a cruise in the Bahamas. There's 5 units at Methodist. Don't worry. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So I get to the thing and I get to the CVOR and I get to the case and I'm starting the case. And they're like, we don't have any. And I was like, yeah, you have 5. So scrub out, call the dude in the Bahamas. And the dude is like, oh, yeah, they're in the 6th floor in IR.
Yeah.
So now figure out how to go to the other side of the building
Yeah.
to get this thing that I need to use. Like, anyway, I think I could
I'll
spend hours.
do you one better.
Yeah.
Taking a call. Taking a call in one hospital. I call the rep. It's like, yeah, we have 2. I'm like, cool. We have 2. I get there. We can't find them. Okay. I call the rep. Where are the 2? He's like, they're there. And it's like, he checks. Oh, no, they're in the other hospital. Okay, wait. So I said, okay, I send one of the team to drive
Oh, my God.
to the other hospital. That's maybe like 15 blocks away. They get there, like an hour passes. They're like, we can't find it. It's like, bro, you had 2. He's like, yeah, we have 2. They go check again. They're like, no, it wasn't cardiology.
Oh, my God. So it
It's like,
was
it was like 2 hours.
And the stress factor kicks in for you both too. I would
Well,
assume.
I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
Eric, I guess I just want to ask, with those 2 or 3 very small personal remarks of absolute mayhem,
Mm-hmm.
because there's no other way. Like, imagine if a family member knew this. Like,
Now they do.
and I just think if my father was dying of a heart attack and he's on the way to the hospital and there's all this bullshit happening behind scenes to try to save his life, I don't know that anybody could stand in court and be able to defend the situation like this. So with that very personal story, Is this sort of maybe what you're trying to help us with? Is this part of the solution, or am I off and we just have to do a spin-off and make another company?
No, no, you hit the nail on the head, and that's where the company originated from. I mean, if we go back in time, late '80s, early '90s, when the majority of large medical devices that were first coming on the market, that was essentially the process, right? A device representative, business person with clinical acumen comes in and makes relationships with the physicians that utilize these products. And then that relationship is built, and then it's repeat business, right? The products are then used because obviously they're providing a good outcome for the patients and for your patient care. But now, as we fast forward to present day, that resource and representative goes beyond not just delivering the products and finding what you're looking for, but it's also attached to supply chain. It's attached to clinical education. It's attached to scheduling, inventory compliance. There's so many facets that the industry now is responsible for from a resource perspective, and it's kind of snowballed. So you're absolutely right. Finding and procuring your devices and your right reps is absolutely where our business starts. In essence, you grab your phone now and you open up our application Unite, and regardless of the medical device and regardless of the medical device manufacturer, you automatically can see your local representation and the person that represents those. But we take it a step further now too.
So PROXDIS is the name of the company, not the name of the app.
That's
Am I-
correct. Yeah, our name of the company is PROXDIS, and then our application, our mobile app is called Unite by PROXDIS, or Unite.
So what is the difference between is there a difference, or is this just this is the name of the company and this is the app, or is the company trying to build a bigger product behind the scenes that oversees this app to find your rep?
Yeah, well, it's a great question. Thank you. We want to make sure that we're positioning ourselves within healthcare as a true partner, not just for the hospital systems, but also for the device industry. Because, and from our viewpoint, it's a two-way street, and sometimes it's one-sided, depending on what side you're on, of course. So our company Proxys sits in the middle of that, trying to best benefit both parties, both sides, because we think it's equally as important, or else you can't get the outcomes that everyone wants collectively as a team. So we built Unite so we can connect the two, but Proxtis overall wants to show that we're building something even greater than just the communication aspects. It's going to go into more visibility for those two companies, those two sides, the hospital and industry. We're going to be able to provide them new ways of doing business, faster, secure ways, HIPAA compliant ways, faster scheduling. It's all the things that we see in the real world inside the labs and ORs that, quite honestly, not just the patients don't see, to your earlier point, but also the admins of the hospitals. Hospitals are very operational based now. And some of the things that we do, meaning on the ground floor, they're just, not connected with that, obviously.
So when I walk into a hospital, sometimes I see people going by hand, like counting hundreds of boxes to check if things are in stock. And you can just imagine the amount of mistakes that process leads to. Are you guys, I imagine this has to be connected somehow to what you guys are doing, because, it's fine to get the rep, but sometimes the rep doesn't even know, like, what we have in the hospital.
It's a great point. We try to use all the same terminology that is used daily, right? That's a function for everyone that's on the operating rooms in the interventional suites. So inventory audits, inventory counts are something that is routine. Most hospitals over the last several years maintain the representative comes in at least once a month, and obviously in preparations for JCO audits and things like that, it's an extra added service. And the inventory control is something that's very complicated, as you can imagine, especially with dual vendorship contracts and things like that drive the business now predominantly. But yes, to answer your question, you can go through our app and find the resources you're looking for. And in this case, for our conversation, you can say, come in and do an inventory count. I don't have the right sizing for our products. Make sure you come in and remove the products that just got FDA recalled, and make sure that they're off our shelf. It's a plethora of inventory related concerns that you can now have access through the application.
So what I'm not, maybe what I'm lost a little bit is I know I was looking into the past of the history of the evolution of the company. It seems that at some point it was called MyRep, and then that evolved to PROXDIS and Unite. Can you walk me through what made you change that? Question one, why did we move from what seemed to be MyRep, which is probably the way that I introduced this, to this bigger plan of PROXDIS with this sub project or integral part of the project called Unite? And then maybe as you answer that question, frame who your clients are. Because now I'm not clear whether your client is industry, whether your client is the hospital, or whether your client is the physician, or all three. So would you mind framing this about the evolution and then who the client is?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, thank you. And so when we first started the business, the first way that we approached the industry was using a coined phrase that we've all heard and we still use today, unfortunately, and that was, "Who's my rep for this product?" And that was the start of the business. We wanted to make sure that we no longer had to require 3-ring binders full of old business cards, and to your point, not knowing what rep works for what company. And that was something that everyone could simply relate to. And when we were doing that, when we first entered the market, we wanted to make sure that it stuck, that people could relate to it. And that's how we made our entryway. As we started making conversations with the hospitals, we in turn knew that we wanted to solve for all the other problems that we witnessed while we were working in industry. And and as we started to introduce those things to the hospitals and industry representatives, they immediately welcomed the opportunity to enhance that, make it better and easier for them. So as that went on, I took a step back, and this is more just an operational leadership decision from the company perspective, is that I wanted to make sure again that we were approaching healthcare in a new way that traditional software companies, I think, sometimes overlook. And that is that you have to specifically care about the viewpoints of all those users that interact with your product. And in this particular space, it was imperative that the medical device companies knew that we were not going to become another credentialing company or another company that is a third-party service which they pay for, that they're not going to get any value from. There's a bad stigma, as you know, within the space with regarding some of the services that are currently out there. And I said to our team, we sat back and we decided, look, let's build a brand to show the growth and the intention of strategy with these two industries, with the two partners in our industry, rather, excuse me, so we can make sure that they know we're looking out for their best interest. And it only made sense too, to the point where we were adding on extra services and extra into our application that was providing new solutions. So we developed PROXDIS. And then we built Unite in a silo specifically for that goal and objective. But as the company now continues to grow and our framework or spider web is interconnecting and weaving itself in with the operational side of healthcare, it only made sense because now we're not just a communication tool with the sole objective of just communicating and connecting. We're doing something much larger at scale. And those kinds of solutions is what these companies and hospital systems are looking for, in our opinion. Did I answer that okay, Miguel?
Yeah, I think you made that very clear, but I still have the question, who monetizes your company?
Sure. So as we go through our initial stages of rollout into the market, we have our industry representatives paying into our service, and they have access now for the very first time to all the hospitals that they call on, but also underneath that umbrella, they have the listing of all their physicians, the nurses, the techs, the schedulers, the supply chain people, clinical departments for fellowships. And those are the resources that industry always wants, but there's not, unfortunately, it's not to them. It's just that there's not a current technology vehicle in place in order for that to be obtained. And that's where we come in. We're providing them value that they never have received before.
Okay, so currently the only people that pay a recurrent fee, I'm guessing you're commercially available as of today or no?
Yes, we are.
You are. So you have active accounts. Okay.
Yes.
So you're essentially marketing to the representative to pay for a monthly, it's a software as a service, right? A SaaS company.
In a traditional sense, it is. It's not so much software. It's more of a software solution, but we're not a traditional SaaS. We're a vertical SaaS.
Okay, but there's a monthly fee.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. That the representatives pay
Yep.
to get access to the infrastructure, to the communication, to the people within the hospital and potentially the physicians. And that's it at this point? Or is there also me as a physician, can I get into Unite and know that I'm always going to be able to connect to the people that I want to connect?
Yes, you as a physician, along with your supportive teams, can connect with whomever calls on your department and services your team from whatever device company.
And do we have to pay
So
a fee
do we
or
pay
not?
a fee, or the physicians don't pay a fee to get part of the Unite?
No, we do not charge hospital systems, and we do not charge the HCP users or physicians.
Okay. So I could just download Unite right now, and I would be able to put the hospital name where I'm at. And if that hospital happens to be connected, I don't know. But if that hospital that I'm at works with you already, I would essentially dial into all these representatives that have also cared to be available through this platform for me, right?
That's correct. Yeah. So if you had our application built into your phone at your institution, we have an algorithm that we've placed in, and we don't put any work on the reps, and we don't put any work on the device companies or the hospital systems. That was another thing we wanted to sidestep that obstacle, because it's always a pain to be added on to do something new. So our algorithm will automatically connect you with the appropriate representatives. So in your case, for instance, you wouldn't be connected with someone that does, spine. And that's another ease of use, right? Is that once you log in, you become a partner with us, and we help align that appropriately for you.
That's beautiful. All right. So where are we at now? And what is your midterm goal? And what is your long-term vision here?
So where we're at now is obviously we're continuing to grow with the current state of Unite. And I would like just to go back just for a moment, because you asked another question I didn't answer for you. Is the communication and finding reps the only thing that's currently available on the application? And that's certainly not. We've taken the normal context, the way we communicate, inventory audits, case coverage scheduling, urgent meetings, clinical requests for in-services and CU credits, all those types of things that are services that the rep brings into the lab. You can now access and request those specifically. So, take into another scenario, back in the early 90s, and as time went on, there was traditional lab days for most companies where they would, have every Thursday. You know who was coming in, and if you had a new tech or a new fellow and you wanted to try something out, you had that opportunity to interact. Well, access has changed, of course, over this period of time. So now you can do it as an individual one-on-one. If you have someone coming in that's brand new, they can simply step out of their comfort zone and reach out to the representative on their own, which is so welcomed by the device industry, because they want that type of interaction, and it allows the education process to, continue without having to wait for, a full lab to come together. It's just one example, but those are the certain things that we have also added into the app.
Is there any way to give feedback on our end on like responsiveness and stuff like that? Because I think
Like,
that'll be
could you
valuable.
give him
like
a
Uberize it a little
could you
bit.
give him the stars?
Yeah, can I give them stars? It's like, hey, like I requested a product, it didn't get in here for like 3 days, 3 stars. Or like you sent it through an Uber carrier, 5 stars.
You're absolutely right. And yes, we do have that available, because the other thing, the other portion of this, right, is accountability. And device reps become very frustrated. They've, again, their place in this sometimes carries a negative stigma, unfortunately. And it's only for a selective few that ruin it for the rest. I mean, there's good reps, and there's bad reps, and there's good service and bad service. And as bad service happens sometimes, it affects everyone. And it's not the right thing to do when it's unaccountable, right? So we put in there that the device reps can be spotlighted for doing things that are phenomenal. And they also can be held accountable if they're sneaking in with no intention other than to try to get in front of somebody at the scrub sink, which, is another bad experience. So yes, we have stars, we have those types of things that you can put in there for descriptions in support of everyone.
Can they rate the physicians like, this guy is an asshole?
I think I
It
told
has
you
to be
this.
it has to be two ways.
I
Can't be just
didn't
one
know.
way.
I didn't know.
This guy asked me to get him coffee every single day. 1 star.
Honestly, I don't think that's a bad idea. Like,
Yeah, rate the physicians too.
although I don't know, maybe
Yeah, how many stars would you get?
I think representatives like me.
I think you get 2.5 stars.
You're such a hater. I think I'm pretty cool with the reps. I'm actually very. They know that they. I was like, listen, as long as the stuff is here, don't come.
Yeah,
Like, don't waste. Like, go build accounts
yeah,
and support people that really need it. Like, I don't need you to be hand holding me. So
yeah,
I think they like that, because I'm like, listen, I'm gonna use your stuff, but I just don't need you to.
yeah.
I don't need you to be bumblebeeing
I
around
don't.
here.
I don't think you get 5 stars. That's my personal
I don't know.
opinion.
I would say 3. You'd probably
I would
get
say you get a
3.
solid 3.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
solid.
Do you know you have an Uber? You know the Uber drivers like always give you
Yeah.
a rating?
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
You
That's
know
the
that.
idea. Yeah.
What's your Uber driver rating?
Can I see it?
Yeah, you just go into your Uber app, and then you just go.
Okay, let's see what's your rating.
Oh, dude, it's gonna be great. Let me look over it real quick. I'm not gonna get distracted here. But I guess, Eric, you were at Medtronic for over 10 years, right?
4.91. Suck it.
4.91.
91.
4.83. You suck it.
You're worst.
Yeah, but like 0.02.
Yeah, you're worst. You lost.
All right, fine. All right, Eric, you were at Medtronic for 10 years, right?
Yes, just a little over 11, 10. Yes.
11 or 10 years. What was your main your main focus over there?
So when I first came into the business, I came in on a pilot program, really didn't know where my future was going to end up. It was an awesome experience, especially at the very beginning of it all, because it allowed me to interconnect with the hospitals and various specialty groups that Medtronic represented at these hospitals. I was a road warrior. I lived in hospitals trying to help fix or mitigate issues that may have come up, from clinical education to trying to get involved with cases. And it allowed me to touch all different parts of the hospital system. And I learned a ton about the operations. And I did that for about 2.5, 3 years. And then I moved over to a sales position working as a device rep. And I was with the cardiology I did interventional cardiology work. And then after that, I did peripheral and then embolization. So I had covered a couple specialties along the way.
So do you feel that you've approached this as a solution primarily to industry and to the reps? Or do you feel this is a solution for the doctor or for the hospital or for all, I guess?
For all.
Because I mean, I feel you've got to be somehow biased by coming 10 years working for industry. Did you think about this? I'm gonna help my fellow industry folks, and we should have a better thing here, and we're gonna have a better tool? Or you think that you were looking at this more holistically?
Yeah, I think it's a benefit for all. I really do. Because see, the thing is, naturally, I felt the pain points myself, being in that environment and having that responsibility from industry perspective. But at the same token, those industry representatives are not successful unless they're respected by their peers and having a strong relationship with those that they work with at the hospital. Those are the guys that survive. And as you start to interact with the people that you care about, because you're in that relationship, the hospital is totally being affected just as bad as the industry is being affected negatively. And the reason why it's being affected negatively is because the way that they're interacting and the way that they're trying to deliver what people need when they need it has never really evolved. So to answer your question, I am not one-sided when it comes to just supporting industry function or hospital function. It has to be a collaboration of both. And that's I think that's a real special ingredient to who we are as PROXDIS, is because we take that into consideration. And at our core, we're making sure that we're doing things equally. You're going to get value from both sides, and everyone's going to be happier, safer, finding what they need. And it trickles to the patient experience as well.
Well, I have to apologize because I was really myopic. I really thought that what you were doing was this very kind of small part, but it seems like you're trying to tackle a bigger problem. And so I apologize for that, and I appreciate your explanations and your depth. But then that naturally makes me wonder, how much is too much? And as a CEO like yourself, you're out there raising funds, you're out there trying to figure out the story. And this seems to be, I'll put it in this terms, not being derogatory, but this seems like a David and Goliath situation, right? Where you have these massive entrenched hospital systems with legacy coordination of care, software and protocols and all these things that have been there for many years. And you're trying to get in there and potentially fix this. So I'm sure that you've thought about this, and I'm sure that you realize that there's a way forward. So would you mind maybe explaining to us how you, from a tactical standpoint, how you feel you're going to be able to knock out, remove, or maybe replace legacy and entrenched systems that do what your system is supposed to do in a much more efficient way?
It's a great point and great question. So you're absolutely 100% accurate. The hospitals, along with industry and healthcare in general, I mean, you both can contest to this. Healthcare is not the best industry for when the word change gets thrown around, right? We're very hard to um, change our approach, our thought process, because everything has to fall into place, right? There's a lot on the line, naturally, taking care of patients, as you guys both know better than I do. However, just to what you described is what hospitals are anticipating from technology companies in particular for when they approach them. And that is that they're expecting change to take place. They're expecting integration to be a 1.5 to 2 year long commitment, and training processes and very expensive licensing fees and all these other nuances that unfortunately add to the complexity of what healthcare is in this space. I and our team at PROXDIS don't ever want to be viewed as that, and we never put it into our strategy to approach a hospital or a device company as that. Instead, we come to them, we take it to a customary level where we make a commitment to them where we do not disrupt their current policy or any policy that they think is necessary for their organization in the future. And that is very, very I think it's respected by them as we have these conversations ultimately, because we continue to grow, and it's welcomed. So imagine, just for instance, for the sake of conversation, every single hospital out there in a procedural setting has a scheduling feature, right? It's for your schedules, for your team schedules, what cases are coming on. And those services are built in. When we come into that environment, and if the hospital so chooses, we attach to that without any disruption. So, and we've done that across all of the services that we offer. So we don't find ourselves as disruptors because we don't disrupt. And we also keep that in consideration for the future, where we'll work with them to make sure that whatever else they bring into the future, we build ourselves around. So from a traditional sense, that's the one big aspect that we bring to the table that I think other companies fail to take the necessary time and attention toward.
So you're hooking up your API to that scheduling system so you can have an insight into what cases are going, so you can have already like a preemptive algorithm that's going to tell you what reps and services are needed. Is that what you're doing?
Exactly. But for instance, we've had a hospital that we've interacted with where the scheduler would spend an average of 2 hours of doing scheduling a day of interacting with
Mm.
reps. So as we come in and we start to participate with them and we build this new process without disrupting their current systems, it's just a complement thereof.
Okay.
Now they're getting that cost saving reduction, they're getting that operational efficiency, more productivity. And yes, to answer your question in that scenario.
Yeah, I see that as being a huge deal, especially in smaller hospitals and hospitals that have maybe like, a lot of reps just cover South Texas or the Valley. That's a huge territory for one person. So you can imagine small hospitals having to deal with making sure that they have support. So that seems like a big deal. Tell me this, when you guys started with this idea, how did you go about implementing it? Like, was it someone's ideas, and how did you build a core team, and what did you think like you know,
Yeah, let's geek on app
yeah,
development because you
and
know that we're
development?
developing our own software.
Uh, so yeah, tell us about that. So how did you? So somebody came up with the idea. Oh, I want to do this app that's going to connect these people. Great. Okay, who developed it? Where did you find it? And then, how did you start making the pitch and the approach to hospitals to even for the first hospital to get you in? What did that take?
Absolutely. I apologize, Lucas. I don't mean to press pause on it for a second because I just wanted to answer Miguel's that I didn't get the tail answer on for him, and I
Mhm.
want to be apologetic to that. Is that where we're going in the future too? Is that the future is that beyond the rep? I always used to say that beyond the rep, you have $1 billion corporation that has all these valued resources that the industry wants to deliver to the end users. And that's where we're going. Right now, we're working with one of the large medical device companies with their medical affairs. And they love the fact that now they can speak on label versus on label trainings with their teams. And as a result of that, those are type of the occurrences that are coming down the future where we're going to be able to interact on with various departments for the end user. Um, and then Lucas, your question about where it all started and how we integrated it with our team. When we sat back, when we were first looking at this, naturally, as we discussed about there earlier, just communication function. The next thing we wanted to do is we've done great recruitment. We have um, a co-founder of ours that is phenomenal from a strategy perspective, and he's our chief of strategy officer. His name is David Cole. And he is an unbelievable, not only partner, but a great leader for us. He's taken our company and has introduced it to so many key people.
How's he doing that? Is that through his network? Is that through, what's his strategy to get yourselves out there?
Yeah, we totally did a lot of outreach. We had to create a new
Mhm.
network. So we naturally relied on folks that we knew that were physicians and worked in the hospitals and things like that, the things that we built over our industry careers. But he's done a great job in leading our business forward by introducing his podcast, um, going to speaking events on our behalf. We've done press releases identifying all the growth stages that we've done. So the market has a time stamp of
Mhm.
progression. So much, in fact, we've, recruited the former CEO of Gore. Jason Fields is with us on our team. We have a former CEO of Tenet Healthcare, market CEO, Jeffrey Welch. And these individuals are just unbelievable leaders, and they bring so much experience to the table. And they also can talk to the fact that of how it impacted industry. Because I want industry to really understand something about us. We're taking the time to make sure that they know that we're cupped in the same cloth, that we have the best intentions and understand where they're, or at least we try to understand their particular perspective of their
Yeah.
operations. And that's why Jason reads our life sciences and Jeffrey from
But
our
you need
hospital side.
hospitals to bring you in order to go to industry and say, hey, use our product, right? So your first point of friction is getting to the hospital. So what's your strategy around that? I imagine. I don't know. Am I correct or no?
No, you're absolutely right. This isn't a transactional piece of our business. If it doesn't work unless we have collective buy-in, which really takes the point forward that we care a whole lot. So yes, we approach hospital systems. We speak with everyone from the C-level suite so they understand of what we're trying to do and paying our respects forward before we do it, because we care a lot about that the trust and loyalty of the organizations that we work with. That's our culture, by the way. We've instilled that with anyone from our business that reaches out to hospitals or industry included. We always stop at the top. And then we make our way into the procedural care areas. We speak with the lab managers, the schedulers, the techs, the nurses, the physicians, the supply chain. Fellowship is a humongous one right now, because fellows want to learn all the latest, greatest technologies. And sometimes they come from different parts of the world and different parts of the country, and they don't know who the local representation are in order to obtain some of those device knowledge and expertise from them. So it's a combination of everything.
Yeah. When you guys got the idea, were you involved in the process of finding like the market fit? Or did you guys have that really clear what your business model market fit was going to be? Or can you speak to that process of hashing that out?
It's a cool question. I sat down with one of our early advisors, and they've been very successful. They built a heck of a business. They're more on the life science pharma side. And he says to us at the very beginning, which every entrepreneur really doesn't want to hear, a business owner, right, is that your business is going to change as you continue to grow. And you listen to it. Obviously, you can understand the premise and the reasoning behind it, but you really don't validate it until you get to that point. And as our business did grow, it changed a whole lot. But our mission has never changed. Our vision has never changed. So the strategy, we've changed our strategy along the way as the business dictated for us, is on our timeline of progress, naturally. But I don't think that the vision's ever changed. So our integration, our growth, and everything like that has changed a little bit, and we built that from the ground up, to answer your question, because we started with what we knew would fit, so we could grab the people's attention that utilize it to bring them value. And from there, we continued our strategy further down the line to solve the problems that we know existed in the market.
So you say you knew initially you had a clear vision. Can you talk to the process of hashing out that vision? Because how many individuals were there involved? Who came up with the initial idea? If you can say, if you can't, that's fine. And then what was that kind of, I imagine, finding a CEO, finding a chief technology officer, bringing those people together, hashing out that clear vision. Just speak a little bit into the nuts and bolts of that, because I feel like, a lot of us have ideas and go down some process, but that's a major point of, going into someone and say, hey, this is the idea, this is the market fit, this is the vision.
Yeah, I'd be happy to, and thank you. For me, it all started. There's characteristics of individuals that matter a lot to PROXDIS, and in particular to me. When we founded the business, I wanted to make sure that, number one, and ultimately, we have people that we trust. And because that character stands out a lot, not just for the people that you work with, but also your customer base, right? So at first, I would say the first step we did is we tried to build the culture framework of what we wanted, so we could have the right people that were needed in order for our vision and strategy to succeed. So we took a lot of time in writing out, the principles. We wanted someone with trust. We wanted someone that understands the realities of healthcare, that's been into it. So we can never be laughed out of a room. We've always seen and done and experienced what we say we're trying to solve for. And I think that's tremendous as well. So as we start to do that, now we have an idea of the character, the people that we want. And then we took it a step further, trying to find those that would fit well with how we want to provide that message to those now that we are going to support and call our clients and members of PROXDIS. So I wanted someone, number one, that understood strategy and the growth development. I mean, David is exceptional to that. I spoke to him already. The next step was I wanted to make sure that we had a framework around our customers. And that's when we started going to work with trying to find business leaders that have either left or they're looking to leave, that can relate to that given area. So as I mentioned, Jason from the life sciences space, it made him perfect fit because he holds all those characteristics that we're looking for and so much more. But ultimately, it makes the end user now know that we're looking out for their best interest before we even get the product, before we even get to our solutions or what we can do better for them or help support them with. I elaborate more, Luke, so let me know if I'm missing.
No, that's great.
No, I
That's
have a particular question. We had an idea for this particular platform that we've been building. You and I have had a couple of conversations offline about it. And, there's so much you could do with like a dev team because your ceiling is going to be your own knowledge, right? I mean, I don't know anything about SaaS, licensing, commercialization, professionalization of an app, like HIPAA compliancy. Like there's so many layers that need to be figured out that I realize that to make sure that this potential project of ours gets off the ground, even if it does have a shot, I mean, who knows? It's probably a long shot. But if it does, I think we need somebody really good on the technical side, on the technology side. And so what I've thought, and this is just my own ideas, is after discussing with a group of investors that they are like willing to put a seed, but they would love for us to have a very strong CTO. I just started with, I think that your net worth is as good as your network. And so I should probably do a lot of, discussing with people that know the environment. But I started with something very simple. I put a post on LinkedIn last night, where I just said, hey, I'm looking for a fractional CTO. It's not a big company. I've got a few dollars I could give you, but it could be a big thing. If you're interested, let me know. What do you think about that? Do you think that just a cold call out there on LinkedIn could be a good strategy to find your CTO, or is that too noisy and I should try a little bit better? And maybe you answer that by telling me how you found your CTO and how he's become an important part of this infrastructure you have.
No, first of all, I saw your post yesterday as I was flying home, and then and it was I really liked it, to be honest with you. And my guys David already picked it up and he reposted it for you last night as well. And he has a much larger social media presence than I do, so I'm sure he's going to try to work hard to help pass it around. But I think the post was excellent. There's a lot of things out there right now that, especially as you have it labeled as a fractional, and the people that are interested in getting involved with businesses, right? That's the kind of stuff that they want. I mean, that's what I really love about you, is that, your directness. You speak true right from the get-go. And I think that the people that are out there looking for those types of opportunities want to know right up in advance, is there progression? Is there growth? What am I getting out of it? So I think the post was very well done.
How did you find your CTO, and how did that work out for you?
Yeah, so we started very early with a team that introduced us for our build. And they're phenomenal. We build a relationship with them. And so to answer your question, it was more of a referral based off of a conversation.
Okay, so you use your network to get to that right person. And then how do you here's the next step. Let's say that I get 10 people that say, I want to be your CTO. What do I know about CTOs? How the fuck am I going to pick a CTO if I get 10 guys saying, dude, I want to work with you? I'm picking up what you're putting down, Miguel. And then I'm like, okay, well, how do I don't know, any tips that you would say, Miguel, this is the way that you can find the right guy for your team?
Well, number one, I think using the social media as you did, I think is a great place to be. It spreads the word for those looking for it. But secondly, for me, in my perspective, as I shared with you both earlier, I mean, gentlemen, the biggest thing is you never want to work, in my opinion, is ever want to work with somebody that can't work with you, because they're going to be with you in your organization, and you want them to care. You want to be able to trust them. You're not going to be around all the time to see what's going on. You need to be responsive and care. So, I mean, for me, I highly relied on the people that we were building a network with that carried those things, and then asked them to interview them, ask them for referrals within their network, ask them for their experts to vet them. I did all those combinations of those things for everyone that came in, and I'm really pleased, obviously, with the team that we have. I love our guys.
Awesome.
Well, I really think that we're going to be talking a lot more, not only because you and I may have a few little personal projects on the side, but because here at Life of Flow, we just love listening to these success stories of entrepreneurs that are out there figuring shit out. And I do commend you for doing that, Eric. I do also appreciate your the structured answers today, because it has helped me further understand what it is that you're doing. I guess despite our multiple conversations today, I have a better framework and I understand what your vision is. And I hope that we could somehow help you get there. If it means getting the word out, if it means integrating our networks to yours, et cetera, et cetera. And may this always be a place where if you have new stuff that you want to share, your progress, you get to the point that you want to do some crowd fundraising, whatever that is, man. Think of us as a good partner in this process, and we commend you and kudos to you and to all your team.
Well, thank you for the kind words and the time and hospitality. I really appreciate it. It's sincere.
Awesome, Eric.
All right,
Thank
brother.
you so much,
God bless
man.
you. We'll be in touch. Bye-bye.
Bye.